Angeli.
Hi.
I'm trying to see if I can change you to
Can anybody
panelist. Yeah, it's
hear me?
I just opened the webinar. So yes, people are adding in and I'm trying to see, but I can hear you, so that's good. So maybe you're already enabled to participate. Ken, are you there? I know he's logging on. Can you hear me, Ken?
Yeah, I can now. Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, so maybe they changed the functions. Some are on mute and some are allowed to talk.
Yeah, you unmuted me, which is good.
Okay. And Angeli, I just to unmute. Okay. Are you unmuted now, Angeli?
Doesn't
Okay. All righty.
Oh,
I
good.
think I got
Can
it
anybody
now.
hear me?
Yeah, we're both on. I think we got it. Technology. Awesome.
Always makes me so nervous.
And then can you let Anjali share her screen?
Yeah, I'm not in share mode, so that should be okay. Oh, I'll take it off just in case.
Either that or if you put up the drawings, I think either way it's fine.
Okay.
Can somebody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can.
How strange. Okay.
Hi, can anybody hear me?
Can you are you able to share? I think I clicked it off, so you should be able to. I could always pull up the plans if
She still may not be on. She may be muted still because I'm unmuted for certain.
it's so strange because I keep clicking remove. Oh, here we go. Yay, promote to panelist. Okay. I had to click on that. Alrighty. And Ken, you're promote to panelist. Okay, so Angeli and Ken, you should officially be able to talk.
Hi, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yep, now I'm good.
Okay. Do you want to try uploading?
I cannot hear anybody, which is a problem. Okay.
Oh, that's so weird. So you can't hear us?
I'll text her.
That is so strange because it says that you're a participant. Yeah, and I've got 3 panelists. It should be working. Good evening, everyone else who is listening to this technology problem. Thank you for your patience. We'll get started here shortly. As soon as I can confirm that Angeli and Ken are on.
She's working to see if it's a technical problem on her side right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Angela, I just changed you to host, so maybe that will do something.
Debbie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, she's just restarting her computer right now.
Okay, all right.
So she said, go ahead and start
Okay,
and she'll hopefully catch up here.
okay. I'll go ahead and pull my plans up then.
Perfect.
Okay. And again, thank you all that are joining us for, if you could just bear with us for another couple of minutes. I'm going to pull up the plans. Oh, I think I'll do it something quicker. Yep. Can you see my screen, Ken?
Yeah, no drawings have come up yet. They're probably loading, but I can see.
Is
your
it a white screen though?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, then it's showing. All righty. Okay, so just
Got
tell
it.
me when you know what sheets you want me to go to
Yeah,
during your presentation.
Perfect.
Okay.
It's up now for everybody to see.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's get started. This is the community meeting for 2655 the Alameda. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is the second meeting. We had one back in, I believe it was September. Our first community meeting. The applicants and property owner have since revised the plans a couple of times, refined them, the architecture in response to both city comments and to the comments that were made at the last community meeting. So this is their opportunity to present those changes and show you what has been done since the last time we were together. My name is Debbie Fernandez. I'm the project planner, and I'm going to cede the meeting to the applicants because it's really their meeting. I'm here just to take comments and to be able to report to Planning Commission, City Council, what the community's comments and questions are related to the proposal. So with that, Ken, I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, if we could maybe go to sheet A 2.0, which is the first floor plan. Right there, perfect. Okay, from our last community meeting, as Debbie said, after the community meeting, we received PCC comments. And what we did was we took both the community comments and then also the city comments and reworked our plans. And I'll go through the floor plans changes first, and then the building architecture, which changed quite a bit as some suggestions from some community members. So the first thing that was revised on and suggested by both community and staff was to create a much larger bike room than we previously had shown. And we have done that right at the center of the project there in the middle. Debbie, if you have capability of the cursor, you could kind of right there, perfect. So the bike room now has been enlarged about 3 times the size previous location and size that we had. That also resulted in moving the down ramp into the underground parking further toward Alameda, which we did from the Park Avenue side to basically almost in the center of the site now, so that you had clear visibility coming up and down, going up and down the ramp itself from the surface parking. And we refined the access points at both the Alameda there and then also at Park Avenue based upon that change from the ramp, which we thought was a really good suggestion. We also created an additional outdoor seating area at the intersection, the corner there of Park and the Alameda right there, with some change to the seating that we proposed out there and the landscape material as well. Those were generally the larger changes. There was a fire access walkway added to the south property line that borders Safeway along there to get access to the building based upon the fire department requirements. And then we also enlarged the trash room, which is right up on the street slightly, and reconfigured the trash area to have the correct amount of dumpsters and recycling bins that city staff was looking for on the project. So those are the main floor plan changes on the first floor. Let's go to the second floor, Debbie, I think, if we could now. Here, the units basically remained the same around the central courtyard. The courtyard space itself was enhanced, and some additional landscaping was added along. This is the podium level landscape with the second floor. As I said, there's a hole cut out of the center, and the landscaping was refined at the center of the courtyard from previous drawings that we had presented back in September. So let's go to the next sheet if we could, which is the third and fourth floor. And we enhanced the balcony both on the third and fourth floor with some additional landscaping and potted areas, outdoor seating right there where the cursor is. And then over to the left-hand side back near the triangle there, point right in there with some additional landscaping that not only showed here, but also shows on the landscape plan. But the units remain basically in the same general design as had previously been proposed. The amount of units has stayed the same. The parking has stayed the same. Actually, we increased the parking by 1 stall, but that was to add a additional ADA van stall that the building department required. But the unit mix is pretty much the same, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom unit mix that we presented at our last meeting. And then if we could go to the next sheet, which I think are the basement parking. This just shows the rampway reconfigured up against the Alameda side of the building, and the parking redistributed slightly. And like I said, we picked up 1 EV van kind of in the center of this site, just below the ramp there, right there. Yeah, right in that area. So then the next sheet would be the floor plans, which we can go through, just skip over, and let's move to the elevations. We could, right there. There were some suggestions both by the community and staff to create a more continuous parapet where we actually reconfigured 2 areas of the building at different heights. And that was changed. The more modern sort of prow of the ship or point of the building that we had previously designed at the corner of Park and the Alameda was softened by a rounded edge design that I think is much softer and We created some additional detailing at the cornice through dental treatments and additional trim details all along the upper part of the parapets. Yep, perfect there. We also added some additional wood material, some horizontal wood material that occurs in multiple locations throughout the site and on the
just
elevations.
hold on, Ken, just a second. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna blow that up a little bit
Oh,
because I
very
know.
good.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yes,
So you
much,
can
much
see
better, I'm
the
sure.
details a bit better.
Yeah. And we actually also added additional glass and glazing to the first floor where the retail space is, up at the front part where you can see the word coffee there. The storefront windows to display the interior are larger than previously designed, and then created the outdoor table seating along that entire edge, both on the park side and the Alameda side. And then we added some additional trellis features right at the entrance to the parking garage to denote where the parking garage and parking would be. And you could see that there, right where the cursor is. And that trellis feature starts at the ground plane and then works its way up and over the opening for the parking area to again announce that parking. The materials themselves, we added additional trim and wood trim around the window areas, as well as some additional wood trim on the buildings itself, just a finer architectural detailing. And the balconies continue to have a wrought iron railing system and recessed balconies and glass at the units themselves. So maybe what we could do now is go back, if we could, to the perspective views, which I think are like the second and third sheet of that the package. Yeah, one more, I think there. Let's go one more right there. So this is the new rendering of what you just saw in elevation format that shows the new cornice treatment along the top part of the building, both the dental and the additional wood detailing that we have along that parapet, and then the wood trim details to create additional shadow line around the windows and separating the materials, as the cursor is showing now, between the wood and exterior plaster materials. As I said, the balconies are wrought iron balconies, and then you can see the additional landscaping that was created at the first floor right there near the entrance to the garage. And then also the new glass windows that happened at the retail component and plaza space that's out in front on the corner. And then maybe if you take a look at the next rendering, if we jump to that. Yeah, and this shows a little bit more detail at that trellis element entrance off Park. This is a view looking from Park Avenue back, and continues to show that same level of combination wood, plaster, iron balconies, the deep recessed patios, and then the trellis features with landscaping vines that would be proposed in where the cursor is. Yeah. So I think with that, those were primarily the changes. Debbie, did I cover everything? Is there something that I have forgotten in there?
No, I think you hit all the changes that were made. It's just, but the finishes have been much more refined and detailed in these renderings than the previous. And these are uploaded to the city's website project page for this for 2655 the Alameda. So everybody could take a look at that and examine the plan sets in more detail. Both the first set of plans that were previewed at the first community meeting, and in comparison with these now revised plans that you're viewing.
Yeah, and I have ownership on the line with me tonight too, and so we'd be happy to answer any questions that any members of the public or yourself, Debbie, or any other staff member would like to ask tonight.
Okay, let's see if I could bring individuals up. Oopsies. Let's see. Okay, let's start with. Okay, A Butcher. Are you there? Let's see. I've got a. Oh, strange. A Butcher, are you? Can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I have a question about how many parking spaces there are in this project. Hello?
Yes. Ken?
Yeah, do you want to go back to the
Yeah.
site, to the tabulation sheet, which is right
I
on the
can
site
bring that.
plan, if we could?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think it's a few more sheets
Yeah.
forward there.
We can go to this one should show it.
I think
Yes.
this does have that.
I would just
Maybe.
like to know the ratio of
You know, why don't
parking
you-
spots to the potential residents that are going to be living in the building.
Yeah, let's shrink this drawing down, Debbie, and we have a tabulation on the side of the sheet there that
Okay.
show it. There we go. Keep moving. Perfect. So we have a total parking is 38 stalls, 24 is in the parking garage that is underneath the project. You can see the splits there of handicap, EV van, motorcycles, and then surface parking. We have an additional at level 1, 14 stalls. So that totals the 38 stalls, and it's roughly 3 of those stalls would be based in for the retail, 1,500 square feet of the retail, and then 30 stalls would be for the units themselves, which we total 39 units, are 0.75 per unit on for parking. It's one of the reasons that the bike room was enlarged previously, because this is so close to the university and transit. There was some suggestions both by staff and the public to increase the bike room to encourage more bike ridership, and I think that will happen. This is a very, very large bike room. We have over 60 stalls, including electric bike charging areas that will occur in the bike room.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I don't, not at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to. I don't have a name on this phone number, 408-581-1420. Let's see. Are you out there?
I need to know how long we use going to be built for that building 2655 Alameda.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that once again?
I could like to know when the building start to build the project.
Yeah, Debbie, I can answer that. I think we would go through this planning process in terms of the public hearing process through the summer, and then submittal to the building department for building permit drawings early part of fall and winter. And I would assume that construction would start roughly first quarter in 2024. Anjali, is that pretty much your schedule as the owner?
Can I have one more question? That the affordable for low income housing?
The project would be would provide the requisite number of units per the city's affordable housing ordinance.
For the low income, right?
That will be determined by the housing department.
Uh-huh.
It could be, and maybe Angeli, if we can get Angeli on what's being those discussions with housing. It's what the needs are, so it could be low, very low, moderate.
Uh-huh. So I want to know how much for the moderate, very low income. How much for the rent for the more low, very low income? 40 or 45,000 for a portable for that unit? So I want to know if we have 5 person in the family, so supposedly how much for the very low income based on that unit we apply for?
Hi, I think, can people hear me now? I was
Yes.
finally unmuted by Debbie, sorry. Okay, hi, thank you for calling. To answer your question, there will be 15% affordable units. So roughly 15% of 39 units. And your other question was, were you asking how much specifically? That has not been determined, especially because we'll just follow what the state really sets those numbers, and we'll follow that once the project is up and running. So the numbers today would be different than perhaps the numbers in a year and a half.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was my question.
Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Thank you.
Colin, and we'll try to. I don't know why this thing keeps moving all over the place. Okay.
Hi there. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And then Ken, thank you for sharing this with the community and taking your time to be with us tonight, first and foremost. A little bit of our background and credibility. We're the third largest private owner of off-campus housings around Santa Clara and probably the second largest property manager. So pretty familiar with renting to the students, which most likely this would be, right? So you figure on average, we have 2 kids per unit and about 1 out of every 2 has a car. So I guess the big concern, right? I think it's a beautiful project, but is definitely going to be the parking. So we're more seeing like probably 1.5 parking spots per unit is what's needed. And even the kids ask for more, right? So parking as you push into the community is really dense. So I think that's something that definitely needs to, if it's feasible and the city agrees, have a deeper look at that. Because in our experience, probably like 60 residential stalls is what would be needed at a minimum to kind of adequately house the students and the number of kids that are going to be living there.
Hi, can you hear me, Colin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Colin, you just said your name and Debbie doesn't have it on participant view. So you didn't say your company name?
Yes, Sun Archer Investments is the property management company. So us and Tempest are the 2 probably largest off-campus housing property managers. And then we own about 10 units around the university as well. So pretty familiar with, the student rental, and then, also kind of what the parking that's, required to house the students each and every year too. So that's the big thing for me is I think it's going to be, grossly underparked would probably be how I describe it for the 30 stalls with the density of students that are going to be living there. And then other concern, right, is just the safety of kids getting back and forth across Alameda and Park. We have some properties on Bellamy, and I know that's already kind of a concern is late at night, right? So making sure it's adequately lit and, nobody wants that kind of accident to happen. So those are kind of my 2 concerns.
Okay, thank you for your comments and thank you for attending tonight.
Yeah, any feedback on the parking in particular?
The parking is, we've met the city requirement at 0.75 and we're going underground already. So I think we've really tried to maximize the parking as best we can. I did go to Santa Clara undergrad and Santa Clara Law, so I am familiar with the student body and whether or not they drive. But I think we're hoping with the extended bike room that we're encouraging bikers, and feel that we have done what we can to maximize the parking for this site while also, having the most amount of residential units that we can.
Yeah, no, I understand it. It's got to be economically feasible. I really think that, I mean, it's going to be grossly underparked and that parking is going to have to go somewhere. So unless Safeway will take some, or it's just going to push more into the neighborhood, which is already overparked. I think it's something to seriously consider from the city's perspective, in my opinion.
Okay, the 408-247-7536. Are you out there? Hello, 408-247-7536. You should be unmuted. Okay. Okay. Adam, you slipped behind. I don't know how that happened. We'll move on to Adam Thompson. Things keep shuffling here.
Okay, I didn't know I had my hand up, but I was going to talk anyway. Thank you, Debbie. Adam Thompson, lifelong resident of Santa Clara, Old Quad Residents Association. Couple things. Do you mind going back to the elevation, please,
Sure.
of one of the sides? So I really think that, with this kind of, construction type, pulling a horizontal line for the entire distance of the building, especially on the upper floors, really elongates the structure and it doesn't give it the actual like height and rhythm. And so I'd like to see, I don't know if you're going to get to it so you can
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
show
trying. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure
Uh-huh.
everybody kind of understands what I'm saying here. So I think a lot can be done. There's some really iconic buildings in San Francisco and Oakland as well that are very simple. So it's not a big ask to redesign that, not redesign, but to skin it a little differently. I do appreciate that you have recessed balconies versus protruding balconies, because I do think that it's less obtrusive to the pedestrians on the walkway, as well as it usually hides a little bit more of the stuff. And I know in the CCNRs, I'm sure you'll try to limit what they can put out there, but it always happens. Kind of like what the other gentleman said. But the front structure, you have the verticality, but the back structure is very horizontal. And so I think it needs to be tied together. This looks, I'll be honest, like just a stucco facade with, some windows. So I do think there's something to be done there. And then is the retail, does it have full food service? And that includes grease trap and grease hood for an occupant?
Correct.
Size for a restaurant?
Correct.
Okay. As long as it has that. My last comment would be, I think it's interesting that the residents for years have been told that the students don't park or need cars. And we just heard from one of the largest property managers and one of a significant owner of student housing in the area that the parking ratio that they consider is needed and even pushed for higher by the kids is 1.5 per unit. So I do think it is, very, I think it's a little optimistic to think that the students are not going to bring their vehicles. And I do think it is going to overflow and become a problem. My wife was an undergrad and a JD student there. And I hate to say it, she parked over there, in the neighborhood. So I know it happens. So I don't think the full 60 might be necessary, especially being that you're so close to campus. And I don't think long-term it's a viable option. I'd rather see you guys work a deal with the landowner of Safeway to work out like a shared parking agreement for a term. And then eventually when it's determined that it's no longer needed for people that have as many cars, you can cut back. So that would be kind of a creative solution for you. And then also I noticed you're only providing one EV stall. I'm a commercial electrician and construction manager. That is really under, that's not the norm anymore. I really think you should be at least at 20%, especially since you have a reduced parking. The city's requirements are greater than 0.75. I do know that for a fact, although the parking requirements are changing from California, so it's kind of a moot point. So yeah, I would wire up some more because more people are buying electric cars or leasing electric cars, and the electrical service and infrastructure all the way back to the utility has to be sized appropriately because those things are, energy driven. So those are my comments. Thank you. I appreciate it. I do think you're in the right footing. I think it's just some massaging and you'll get there. So appreciate your time and your willingness to come and speak to the community. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to get you, Jonathan Evans.
Hello, is my audio coming through?
Perfect.
Great. I had a couple of comments. I guess the first question, a couple comments on the question. Question I had is for the parking. Are you planning to unbundle the parking, or are you planning to include that with the rent? And then I also wanted to echo Adam's comment about EV parking. One stall seems low, especially given that we're going to all electric cars in the future in California. Only having one stall means that most of the residents are not going to be able to probably be serviced by that. So it really should have, we should be seeing like more and more EV stalls in any future development we have in the area. So that's my question and comment. So thanks.
Debbie, could I just jump in?
Sure.
There is more than one EV stall. We have one ADA EV stall shown. That's correct. And then we also have wired and will wire for electric vehicles all along the upper 14 stalls that are at the first level. So we've got more than the 20% suggested by the one speaker. That's a good suggestion and a good start. We've done a lot of projects actually where we're much higher, and this one will be one of them. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Noah McDonald. Let's see.
Did you have a response to whether you're unbundling the parking?
Hi, this is Anjali. I have not determined that yet.
Okay, thanks.
Noah McDonald.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say that I came in a little late in the meeting, but I think the design of this looks a lot better than the original one. I thought the original one looked pretty bad. It's just kind of random, generic, Best Western stuff. So I think this is like in the right direction. It looks much nicer. I can imagine this being like I can really see it and not, I think it looks nice. I think the sort of corner, more taking inspiration from those types of things, these like buildings in San Francisco and all that, with the rounded front, the roof line has that kind of little pattern in it. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think if they do still want to change it, people do still want to change it, saying maybe it's like too large, certain parts of it are too large. I think if anything, the way to go is just some sort of ornamentation on it, maybe some little pattern, something like that. But I think the massing is good because it is a lot more simple than the original design. It's not really intrusive, confusing. I think so. Yeah, I just think it looks a lot better than the first design from last year.
Thank you, Noah. Did you have any other comments you wanted to share?
No, that's kind of it. I think it looks a lot better. It's going in the right direction.
All righty. How about Alex Milliton.
Okay,
Alex, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm okay. Everything looks good. I like the questions and comments.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You kind of
Yeah,
faded out.
I like the questions and the comments.
Did you want to add any?
No,
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for participating.
you're welcome.
Okay, let's Betsy Megas. Are you there, Betsy?
I really wasn't planning to speak, but okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm just going down this, so I can't tell who wants to speak or not. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I think the questions that I asked in the chat have all been answered in the course of talking to other folks. Has the project given any thought to other transportation demand management measures? Is this going to be someplace where the folks are going to get a bus pass or anything like that who live here?
Yeah, we have a section of transportation in the negative deck, which was just posted a short time ago. So there are some TDM measures in there. If you'd like to go on the city's website, you'll be able to see that and see the whole list of proposals that the transportation engineers have suggested.
Okay.
And
thank
Betsy,
you.
they will be required that's one of the conditions of approval is to prepare a transportation demand management plan, which will be reported on annually. So they'll have targets that they'll need to meet and report to us too. We have now we have some assistance with monitoring those plans and reviewing them. So they'll be closely looked at.
Thank you.
Okay, now Sue Sheedy, I guess I should be asking, would you like to talk?
But it's really Tom. It's Tom Sheedy, and I would like to say, make a few
All
comments.
righty. Okay.
Okay. I own a rental unit on Bellamy Street, 850, same building that Colin has a couple of units in. We have one parking space per bedroom, and it isn't nearly enough. So I just want to confirm that parking around the university is a problem. And the retail spots that are proposed for the on-site restaurant, what's to stop students from squatting in those parking lots full time? I don't expect an answer right now, but I'd like to see it addressed. At one unit per bedroom, the absolute minimum of permanent parking to me would be, 2 times, say it's average of 2 bedrooms per unit, that gets you 80. And it wouldn't be adequate just because kids bring cars, their friends have cars. We generally have, in a 2-bedroom unit, we have 4 students. So you do the math and, unless there's deed restrictions on this building or rental requirements, it's going to get overrun by students. And there'll be, average of 4 students per unit, and at least half of them will have cars. So, that's like almost 80 cars. I think something needs to be worked out with Safeway, or put a parking structure in a Safeway parking lot, or, something. The other thing is this building will have a 50 to 100-year life. Gasoline vehicles in California are outlawed in 10 years, as the law currently reads. There needs to be electric charging for every parking space on the property long term. I don't see how that could be avoided, and the city of Santa Clara should be looking into this. Third question, or another question, is what is the solar installed capacity going to be on this building? And will there be a parapet on top to hide the panels? Or where's it coming from? Because, figuring this is going to be all electric, I can't imagine the city would even allow gas service to this building, current state of affairs in California particularly. And what are they going to do to absorb part of their electrical demand on site with solar installation? It's about all I have right now.
I'll just chime in real quick. I know the REACH code that was adopted prohibits connections to gas, so it would be electric. If I'm not misspeaking, Ken. I think we have a roof plan as well. Did you want to look at that perhaps?
Well, let me just describe it because it's easy to describe. Yes, there are PV panels on the flat roof section of the building behind the parapet, so they're not visible. And most of the roof is accommodating that. And so we are providing solar on this project.
How many kW per unit?
We have not gotten into the specific design right now. We have a tremendous amount of area to support those PV panels, and we know that those work. So that's the next phase after we go through approvals here.
Okay.
Alrighty. Catalyze SV. Would you like to speak?
Hey, Debbie. Yeah, sure. That'd be great. This is Alex Shore with Catalyze SV.
Hello.
Very grateful that Julie and Ken and you are doing this meeting and following up, and appreciate you creating a feedback loop that shares the improvements the developers made in response to community and city feedback. That's such a great way to start a meeting and remind us where the project has made improvements and changes. So appreciate that. Catalyze SV members, some of which I think are on the call tonight, will be scoring this project in 2 days. So we're really, really excited for an opportunity for our members to share some feedback, some of which has been shared already here today. I think one of there's been a lot of discussion tonight about parking. One of the beauties of being literally across from the university is that a lot of students can walk right to class. I mean, when I was a college student at a school sort of like Santa Clara, a private school with a real actual campus and amenities around it, I didn't want to get in the car and drive all the time, especially as let's just presume I was 21 the whole time. If I was drinking, I didn't want to get in a car and drive anywhere. That's not safe for our students. So I can't think of a project that's more suited to have lower parking ratios. I think there is a market for that, and there's plenty of projects that probably have more parking spaces. So some of the students may choose to live in this building because it doesn't have as much parking. And I think Adam Thompson's idea of talking to Safeway would be a really good one. And Julie, if you do find that there's a need for extra parking, and even though, as the gentleman said a minute ago, we are in fact moving to electric vehicles, I think we can all agree that gas-powered cars not only cause a lot of congestion, but they cause a lot of pollution. And so when we build for the car, we get a lot of cars. And I think it's okay to have a building that doesn't have as many cars. I think that could be good for Santa Clara, good for the environment, and potentially bring in some more tenants. And as a housing advocate, I know that the more space you put for cars, the less space you have for homes or community benefits like this great retail space that Ken and Julie are proposing for this project. So I think there's, our members will weigh in on this more, but I just think the project's on the right track with parking, and you can't wait to share, Debbie, what some of our perspective on the project and share that with you. And again, grateful for tonight's meeting and another great conversation with the community.
Thank you. Chuck Cherukuri.
What's the sound there?
Let's see. Would you like to speak?
Chicken in it? What's in it? Protein? No, cooking's in them. Yes. Oh, cool. So. Were they?
Chuck Cherukui, are you there?
They warmed up in here. It's not on, I just. No, it's just getting warm.
Mhm. Let's see. Okay, so let's move on to JC. Would you like to speak?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yes. Yeah, I just also like to bring up the comments of, oh, my name's Jorge Cano, by the way, a resident here in Santa Clara since the early 2000s, live in the area. But I just like to also bring up the fact about parking. Like it's been said before, street parking is very hard around the university and in my neighborhood. I know there is areas that do have uh, uh, parking by permit, and I could just see that having to increase to other streets outside of that area, which I know some neighbors and neighborhoods probably don't want that. And to also speak about, students, yeah, they might, be going to school there. They might be walking to class, but they're still going to need a car to go to Santa Cruz, to go, shopping, whatever it may be. So it's not like they're not going to have a car, even though they're that close to the university. The other point that I like to bring up as well is the corner retails that it seems like a lot of the new developments in Santa Clara, over by, for instance, the complex across from Franklin Square, the complex on Monroe, on El Camino between Monroe and Jefferson, as well as the complex on Benton and El Camino. It seems like they have a lot of retail spaces that are open, and they're still open. And so I didn't know if the retail there is going to be pure retail restaurant. I'm not sure, but it just seems like there's a lot of open retail currently. So could that, we're talking about parking, could that be used for parking as instead for retail? And the other comment is street parking still going to be allowed around that corner? Because it looks like in the rendering there isn't street parking. And removing street parking definitely goes back to the parking issue with not having a lot of parking in the neighborhood. So I didn't know if there was any comments on that. I mean, pretty much all the way down Park Avenue to Newhall, I've seen students park and walk all the way to the university. So I just kind of want to hit on some of those points. It'd be great, if that retail there was a restaurant, to have, some local restaurants, like Netto's and Armando Burrito, they were kind of pushed out based on some new development. So it'd be great to have something like that come back in, but depending on rent and so forth, it just seems like a lot of places are not going to be available to fill that area.
Good point.
Thank you, JC, for your comments. I apologize, Sue. I see you way up here and your hand is flagging. So would you like to speak, Sue Sheedy? Sue, are you there?
Thank you. My husband already did it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. That's right. Because Tom. Yes, I apologize. Okay.
Right.
With all these names moving up and down. Let's see. Jared, would you like to speak?
He doesn't say one.
What?
Because
You didn't ever lower your hand.
Because you put sushi when you sign up for Zoom.
Jared, would you like to speak?
It's my computer.
Okay. Joyce, would you like to speak?
Hi, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. So like JC, I'm also, I guess, living quite close to 2655, the Alameda. Quick question, what's the timeline of this project in general?
Hi.
I think Ken had responded to that a little bit
Yeah.
Yeah,
earlier,
so
but you
Ken
might want to
confirmed.
just hit that again, Ken.
Yeah, it's, we have public hearings that we will be going through with Planning Commission, City Council this summer. And then the next step would be a submittal to the building department for building permits, fall and winter, and a first or second quarter start of construction in 2024.
Okay, so is this just basically unstoppable, and it will happen probably, just to get an estimate of my future here?
Unstoppable.
I believe that's the intent to that timeline.
Okay,
Maybe.
okay, understood. Okay, question number 2 is more like logistics. So I got in the mail saying that there is the availability for public review of a mitigated negative declaration, etc., etc. I was not able to locate the document on the Santa Clara government website.
And which document are you inquiring about?
Hold
It's the
on.
negative deck.
No, yeah, it's the environmental review.
It's on the CEQA page, and there's a link on that notice.
It's a paper.
Right.
Notice,
If you
so
type in that, it's on the CEQA page. So you would go to the city's homepage and
wait. So if you have your computer up, would you mind just sharing the path, or just can click it on your website?
Sure.
Thanks.
She just showed it. Huh? Oh.
No,
Yeah.
wait, wait. Okay. So if you go to business and development, I'm showing you the quick way.
Yep.
Okay. And you'll see planning and zoning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll scroll on your left side, the left column.
Yep.
Okay, you see environmental review, CEQA.
Ah, got it. Okay.
And then you'll scroll. It'll be this. You'll
It'll be
see it
one
on the
of those.
second page. There we go,
Yeah.
right there.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so chances are, if this is gonna happen, when or would there be an occasion where we ask questions regarding like during construction, noise mitigation and road safety, or is this where we
That's where you'll find that that's a good place to start. There's
Mhm.
specific chapters that address like air quality, noise.
Okay.
There's numerous issues and subject areas that the environmental document speaks to, and where there is identified a potential impact, mitigation measures are identified and would be put into place with project construction. There's a mitigation monitoring and reporting program that comes out of the document that is applied to the project throughout its construction.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, take a look at that, and
Yep.
if certainly if there's not, something you don't feel is addressed, that you can comment on that, or we will have Planning Commission and City Council where this project will go for public review and recommendation by Planning Commission to City Council. So that's another opportunities for you to review and comment on the project.
Okay, sounds good. And I guess finally, since everyone is commenting on this, parking comment. I guess the short comment from me is just based on the observations of street parking on Park Ave. There's definitely university student parking that they will park here, regardless of whether or not this building gets built and so forth. So just take that into account, please. Yeah, that's all the comments I have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Debbie, I'm sorry, this is Adam real quick. I have another city meeting, but I wanted to clarify something. Is this project being submitted as a plan development?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just for the last speaker, it is 100% the judgment of the council to allow a plan development to pass or not. Plan development means that there's unique circumstances that are required and it doesn't fit into the current general plan or zoning. So just clarity. So there is plenty of time to voice your concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All righty. Kapil Nanda. Oh, that's probably, is that your partner there?
Yeah, that's one of
Anjali?
the ownership
he doesn't-
interests.
Yes,
He
sorry
doesn't need
about
to
that.
speak. Debbie, we could, instead of just going through every name, just have someone raise their hand if they want to speak using the Zoom raise hand function.
I'm down to like the last three anyway.
Oh,
It's like,
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Horrible way to do this. Yes, the people probably won't know what to do.
Okay, Kathy Weiss,
That's not.
would you like to speak?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Oh, good. Okay, great. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes with a couple of comments. I live in the Old Quad area, and I live a block away from the condominium complex that is sitting on the corner between Franklin and Benton on Monroe. And like JC, I am also concerned that that building, well, he was specific about that building, but that building was erected 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I realize that we've gone through a pandemic, but there's all this retail space underneath. Only once has it ever been occupied, and they, during the pandemic, they had no business, so they closed. Right across the street is the old Franklin Mall, and there are some empty spaces in there also. And now we're proposing, another complex with more retail space. And I know that they're sniffing around with building a 6-story, 50 condo unit complex right on the corner of Homestead and, again, Monroe. And there's all this retail space, and I'm just concerned that this is just going to bring in more people, not necessarily, I'm talking about like homeless people that need places to go in, and they're going to, I don't know, it's just an issue. There's a lot of retail space, and we're too close to Valley Fair and Santana Row, I think, to accommodate all these small businesses. I just don't think that it's just viable to continue to build more buildings with more retail space. And my last comment, again, very quickly, everyone is concerned about parking. I look at that parking lot between the Superior Court building and the bank building on Homestead and what is that, Washington? That's an entire gigantic big flat surface where there is parking. I don't know who it belongs to. I don't care who it belongs to, but everyone is concerned about parking. Why isn't there a move to build a multi-level parking lot there? That would probably alleviate some of the student parking. Because the students, they come from out of Santa Clara. They drive from different states. They have to have some place to park. And I know it's difficult to park in Santa Clara on the side streets close to the university. So anyway, that was my comments.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lori Jane, would you like to speak?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. And Mia Vlamming, would you like to speak?
Also, no comments. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Well, if that's everybody. Betsy, did you have one more comment? I just saw your hand.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought of what I was going to say. So a couple of the speakers, many of the people who have spoken tonight have been concerned about parking, and a couple of folks have expressed the opinion that people are going to bring their cars. And that's true in the city that we have today. I went to 4 years of university without a car. My husband did the same at a different school. I had my bachelor's degree before I had my driver's license. And the way that you get there is by changing the incentives. It's by building, I was 10 minutes from campus on my bike. There was a train that went where I needed it to go on on long weekends. And, I saved thousands of dollars not owning a car for 4 years. So I think this project is one of the closest things we have in Santa Clara to that realignment of the incentives, because you can get to Sacramento on a train. You can get, from this building, I can get to Santa Cruz without a car. I can get to San Francisco without a car. And I can certainly get to the university without a car. So I am in favor of less parking if we can do it for cars. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. And with that, it looks like we've taken everybody's comments. So I will, if you want to have any closing remarks, Ken or Anjali.
Spaces in the garage, and they're the only ones that can get in and out.
I think, no, thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for following along
So
with
what
this.
does that mean? That means you're gonna rent our
And
garage on the condo to somebody other than who lives there?
sorry, I think somebody needs to mute. Anyway, I'll just say thanks so much, everyone, for coming. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. I should say, let me close by saying the next step for this project is to, we have a planning commission meeting tentatively for June 14th, and then it would afterwards go to city council, and that would probably be the July. We don't have a tentative date, but there's 2 council meetings in July. So the intent would be to have that occur then. I think I heard on that last part of that question, was it condos or, and this is, these are rental units. These aren't home ownership units. So if that answers that question. And as you have seen, Anjali has her information on the notice. So if you have any questions, you want to speak to her direct as the property owner, if you want to chat with me in terms of processing the application, my contact information is there as well. You can email me or call me either way. And thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.